Hello everyone, and welcome back to the world of Risk. I'm Kilted, I'm a competitive player and multiple tournament champion in Risk Online. Today, I have a special video for you. I'm going to be analyzing last season's World Championship Finals. One of the players in the finals happens to be the Kill Pete strategy himself. I'm sure most of you know who that is. Pete is a close friend of mine. He's given me permission to use his video for my analysis to bring that to you. These finals were exciting. This game was insane. There was a lot going on. High pressure, high stakes, great game. The link to his video is in the description below. Make sure you go watch that version first so I don't spoil it for you, and then come back here for the analysis. Let's jump right into it.
I am in the 4th position. We start with Under the Gun.
So first thing we're going to look at is turn 1 importance. Let these guys calm down a second. They're all emote spamming like crazy. All right. Turn 1 importance. Especially in, not even just in tournament games, in any game in general, your turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, even with a not ideal spawn, it matters immensely to try to make perfect moves in the first couple turns. And that can make the difference between kind of snowballing into a good position or snowballing backwards into a position where you're weak and you're the fish. A lot of people think I just had a bad spawn or I just had a bad start and my game's screwed and nothing I can do. A lot of the times that's not the case. Very important, try to make perfect moves just for turn 1, turn 2. You can make small errors later and it can't really change too much depending on your position, but small errors in the first couple turns can mean a lot. Disclaimer, we have 6 great, incredible players that have fought through 6 rounds to make the World Finals. I'm going to be discussing the positions, some of the options they made, some of the mistakes they made. I want to get out of the way that these players are incredibly talented, and in no way, shape, or form is me criticizing or talking about their play any harm towards them as players, right? These are incredible players. They're playing on the highest stakes. Their heart rate, their blood pressure, it's flying. The stress is real. They have 60 seconds to think and act. We're approaching this from hindsight. We've seen the game. We've had time to analyze it. So anything we're looking at, keep in mind, they had to act fast, right? All right, so that out of the way, we have Under the Gun in the first position. Doesn't really have a good spawn for this bonus. This would take too much, and this is one of the bigger bonuses on the map. Nobody's going to let him hold that, especially beside a Pete 3, right? So smart play for him is to go for a smaller bonus. He does have a decent line on this. He needs to find a way to go for this bonus with also setting himself up to have a high or perfect chance of getting it in the second round, which he does indeed do.
A little bit more emoting than usual. Okay.
Under the Gun is a very skilled player. He deserves all the accolades he's achieved in the last 6 months since he started playing. Maybe 6 to 8 months. Maybe even almost a year, honestly. So takes the 4 on 100% blitz roll. Signals. If you're not aware of what signaling is, it's you click your territory and you click the next territory to attack it, and then you press escape or back out of it on your phone. You do that once or twice. It shows the player, I'm coming here, move your troops. Gives this player a chance to move his 3 stack out. Whereas a newer player might just make a 5 and hit the 3. You can signal this, and if this player knows what you're doing, if he's more experienced, he's going to move his troops out of your way. Right? So he ends that, he fortifies. He brings one of these troops over, this one over. You can see he's got this, so if he's going to get 3 troops on turn 2. If yellow moves, he can put 1 troop here and 2 troops here, which would give him a 4 on 1 roll and a 6 on 2 roll, which are both perfect 100% blitz roll. Those are very important. You don't want to roll a 5 on 2 with 93% if you can avoid it. So perfect turn 1 from black. We're looking at yellow. He's got 3 troops to place. He puts 2 here and 1 here. Ultimately, yellow has decided he's going to go for this bonus over here. Yellow is Finley Pope, another young great Grandmaster. So his turn 1, he's going to be able to get a card here and have a couple 3 stacks. Ideally, though, you want to get all of your troops into the bonus and threaten to take it on the second turn if possible, right? So I probably would have added 2 troops here, 4 on 1 to here, 1 troop here, or 1 troop here, and then fortified down. So all of these troops were on here and on here. and then he's kind of set to do a run to take this bonus next turn. If red comes out and blue goes up, right? He would be making clear signals to red and blue that he's going for this bonus. He could even signal to red here by aiming at him that that's what he's aiming to do. And blue's probably going to go up anyways. But he does spread this way. He takes a bonus, or he takes a card here and he sits. If you look at his line for taking this bonus right now, it's now less than optimal, right? It's going to be a couple turns away at minimum, where if he did take this card and fortify to here, he'd have what, maybe a 5 here and a 3 here, or a 5 here and a 2 here. He'd be much better in line, especially if red and blue get out of the way, to get it maybe next turn, but guaranteed the turn after. And he does get the 3 out. Something else to note, like that would have left the 3 here, and it also would have, like, black wouldn't have been able to get the bonus as early. He did ultimately get out of black's way and not, he played a little bit more defensively by getting out of black's way rather than offensively by bringing his troops in and setting up to take the bonus. So we're on Tim's turn. Tim's another incredibly talented player. He got second in the last free-for-all, and then he made the finals again in this one. Very top-tier talent right across the board here. We have 3 players I would say are on the more aggressive side. I would say UnderTheGun, Pete, and KingJohn are on the more aggressive side. I would give Finley, Pope, TheBull, and Tim more of the passive style Grandmaster, right? Which is kind of a perfect mix, and it also shows that both types of play styles can get you to the finals, right? In the finals, though, I would say aggressive players are more favored to actually win. You kind of need to just grab your nuts and run through the board when the moment comes, right? And if you're a little bit hesitant, you're a little bit more passive, you're less likely to grab the bull and run with it, right? So you're going to miss your opportunities, and the aggressive players are the ones that are going to shoot their shot more likely. But anyways, Tim in the green player has no real good spawn for a bonus. What does he do? How does he set himself up for a great turn 2 or 3? Like, as I said, turn 1 is incredibly important to have a strong start so you can snowball yourself. Black made an incredibly strong move. Yellow kind of put himself in more of a weaker position. Green's got no good spawn. Like, anybody looking at this, not thinking too much on it, would be like, what does green do? Bad spawn. Like, does he try this bonus? There's a bunch of 2s. There's a 3 and a 2. He could kind of take a card here and try, but then, like, red can't really get out. Red's going to be doing his own thing. Red's got this bonus for sure, but no. Tim steals the bonus from the bull. Red would have had that bonus on turn 1, but green's like, no, I don't have a good spawn. I'm taking this one. I think that was a good play. We're entering Pete's turn. He has 4 troops to place. He's got 2 options. He adds all of them here and rolls a 5 on 2, which is not a good roll. With perfect dice, he takes this bonus on turn 1. Very risky and likely fails and puts him in a bad spot. So the smarter play is you put a few troops, you take one of these cards, and you set up to get this bonus on turn. You should also be looking at where are other people going to be taking bonuses, and because it's progressive, you do want to have multiple positions on the board, as always in progressive, to be harder to kill. But you also want to be careful about adding troops to those positions if they're in a bonus that someone's going to take, right? So he does indeed add a bonus up here, or add a troop up here, which can come back to bite him a little bit because he's going to lose that troop in a couple turns. Also, this move here doesn't secure this bonus on turn 2. Right, so we're going to pause for a brief second.
As long as I get good dice, I get the next turn.
Pete's going to get 3 troops on turn 2 and be able to make this a 7. 7 on 1, and then hopefully a 6 on 2. But if he loses a troop on the 7 on 1, he's rolling a 5 on 2, which is not 100%. Again, if you lose that, your game's just over. So in this case, the 1 extra troop here would have made a big difference to be over here. But it doesn't end up playing a role here in regards to his bonus. The bull, what does he have for option? Lost his bonus here. He needs to figure out what to do.
I'm white, bull is red, and John is blue. John is last.
Does have most of his troops kind of in this corner, so he is going to try to make a play over here somewhere, but he's not happy at all with Tim's move.
You can still see stats and play difference. Great. Maybe we'll
Funny enough, calling Tim a bit more of a passive player, but he did just yoink a bonus from somebody else, right?
Bull is indicating he would
So,
like to
props to him.
Okay.
Yep, so now you can see he's signaling blue, get out of my way, I'm coming down. He didn't signal at black, but he signaled at blue. Right, and blue's, everybody's doing emoting to try to signal. That's the best communication they have. Fist bumps. Here's something. If yellow on his turn 1 had gotten this 3 over, blue's 4 could come up and it would be out of his bonus, right? And red probably also would have came out if he signaled. But now blue wants this bonus. He's obviously coming in this way. He's kind of stuck, so he's going to have to signal. Doesn't have any other real option.
Multiple positions.
He doesn't want to lose this to red rolling his 2, so he is going to try to hold this spot. Trying to play as precise as he can on turn 1. A lot of these players do understand the importance of turn 1. I believe it's underappreciated, though, how important turn 1 is in turn 2. So he signaled. He quickly signaled to Pete, but Pete wasn't looking. And then he signaled to yellow. And now he's signaling to Pete again. And I think he was glancing at a different monitor. So he didn't see these signals.
I don't know where to put my 4 though. I guess if I put my 4 here.
That's going to come back to bite him a little bit. And then he fortifies here to really line up this bonus, right? UnderTheGun's perfect turn sets him up with the 3 troops. He makes a 6 on 2, 4 on 1 as predicted. Perfectly executed turn 2 puts him in a really strong spot.
UnderTheGun has bonus turn 2. Mediterranean worth.
Really nice, really well played. Good game, he says. Alright, Finley Pope's turn. He gets 3 troops. He's got to get this 3 out of the way because he knows blue wants in there. He also wants to set up as best as he can to try to get this bonus as soon as possible, right? He couldn't get it this turn. He can try to set himself up so he can get it next turn. Yep, he loses a troop on a 4 on 1. It is unlikely, but it can happen. 4 on 1 is the best amount of dice to roll on a single stack. If you roll a 10 on 1, you're more likely to lose 1 or 2 troops, or a 20 on 1 or a 50 on 1. You could lose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 troops, but you always capture it with a 4 on 1, and the most you can lose is 1 troop. But usually you don't lose a troop rolling a 4 on 1. So he's now set himself up to sort of get this bonus. He didn't signal to red. I would have signaled to red, hey, move. But if red does see this, blue's going to come out. He does have a position where he can probably take this next turn. Especially if he adds 3 here, rolls a 7 on 3, and then comes up, and then comes over. So green's next turn. He wants to maintain. Here's another thing. He wants this bonus. He's made that clear. But he also, this is his only position on this side of the board that isn't going to just die to blue right now. So he wants to hold this position to make himself harder to kill for later. But he doesn't. He ultimately doesn't add to this 1. Okay. He wants to secure this bonus.
Tim wants the whole thing. Where does Bull get a bonus then?
Black's kind of in a position he could knock him out of here. Black's got lots of options. So Pete's got the obvious move, take the bonus. Not the greatest roll, but he does get the bonus. Okay, so the Bull's turn. So we're in the early stages of this game. It's incredibly important to do 2 things. You don't want to be weak in a fish, so you don't want to be losing troops. At the same time as you do want to be progressing towards a bonus by turn 2 or 3 or 4. That'll allow you to get the extra 3, 4, or 5 troops for 4 turns or so before round 8 when the fireworks really happen. This being a progressive game, a lot of the progressive settings that are viable competitively will end around round 8 or 9, turn 8 or 9. You do get your first round of trades on turn 6 if everybody waits till 5 cards to trade. The second round of trades usually happens on round 8 when everybody's holding 4 cards and now they're about to get their 5th card, but nobody wants to take their 5th card. They trade on 4 and then try to kill somebody on 4, which triggers another trade, right? That's the big trade round. That's where people are getting 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. That's when the game usually ends in progressive. So lining yourself up for a really strong round 8. You want to A, not waste troops so you're not the fish. You want to B, you need to get a bonus. On a setting like this, in a Grandmaster game, bonuses are important. So, and then C, you do need to have multiple positions on the map, so you are one of the people that aren't killable, right? If nobody has a straight direct kill line on you, you're not the one that's going to die first, which means you might get a chance to actually win the game without just dying. So all of these guys in the first couple turns are starting to look at this. Right, red needs to get a bonus. He's got a few positions. Ideally, I would want to add a troop here, come over, just so I'm getting out of yellows. Yellow might be willing to hit this. If I'm yellow, I'm willing to hit this to get that bonus. All right, so unfortunately, when Pete did take this, he didn't see the 2 signals from John here. Otherwise, he would have 4-on-1 down here. And if he was worried about yellow being in a position to take this bonus, he could have 3-on-1'd here and maybe kept a 2 in here. Try to hold a position on this side. But he didn't see this, so ultimately it puts John in a rough position where he wants this bonus. He's going to roll the 4. And he loses the 3 troops that were originally there, plus the extra one he added. And he loses that position ultimately too. Right? Makes him a little bit more weaker. Alright, we go to UnderTheGun's turn. So first person to get a bonus and bonus troops. He has 7 troops on his turn. On 30, everybody else is on 20 except for Bull on 25. He has Pete beside him with a slightly bigger bonus. I believe this is a +4. He needs to look at options, right? Does he hit Pete, break his bonus, and make him the fish? Ultimately, if he does break Pete's bonus, Pete doesn't really have an angle. Like if his stack was down here and he had a 2 here, he would have a better angle for retaliation. But ultimately, he doesn't really have a way to get him back, right? If Pete gets 3 troops, he can make this a 5. He can't really hit him back. So breaking him is correct if you can weaken him and keep him as the fish, right? Pete is playing to win this tournament. He's not going to just suicide for the next 3 turns and then quit the game, right? So
Will I find myself inevitably in somebody
this is interesting because UnderTheGun is one of the only players that would make this move. I would also make this move. I believe KingJohn may make this move, but one of the other 3 players in this position would let Pete hold the bonus and not break him. There's a chance Tim breaks him, but I don't think so. So that was correct.
Looks like I lose.
Immediately he's like, looks like I lose. So like the first instinct, like you're in a bad spot. It is going to be a tough game and an uphill battle from here. This is what separates a world-class player from a novice. You will see some stream games on Pete's stream where somebody will hit him like that and immediately he'll do like an early cash in. He'll run into you and be like, it's not good for TV anyways. The game's over, right? I was in his chat when this happened and there was a few people saying, well, good game, UnderTheGun and Pete lose now. Don't break Pete, you're both dead. And no, ultimately that's not what happens. Pete's not going to suicide into UnderTheGun right now to teach him a lesson and show him a message, to send him a message, right? You don't send somebody a message in the World Finals. You send somebody a message in a practice game so they don't do it in the World Finals, right? You try to intimidate them out of it. But that's another thing that makes a world-class player, is you're not intimidated by him suiciding because you know he needs to win. You're going to make the correct move anyways. This hurts me a little bit in community games when I do the correct move and people suicide me because they want to send me a message, but it would never stop me from doing this in a tournament game. That is the correct move, in my opinion, and props on him for doing that. Okay, yellow. He added his troops in a way. He added 2 here to take 1, and then he added 1 here to take everything except for the red. Now he wants to signal the red to move. This is already turn 3. We're getting our 3rd card now. And he hasn't actually yet signaled red to move that out. And now red's fist bumping, finally realizing what's going on over here. And being like, oh, actually, I want to keep that 3. Let me have it. Maybe he played dumb and left it there to make it a little slower. But there was a risk of him rolling it. But he's going to be a little bit more careful. And he's not going to... he's not going to break blue. And he doesn't roll the 5 on 3. Everybody's sending hearts. Like, hey, yeah, hearts, hearts. Like, blue sent hearts to him. And we see soon blue doesn't let him hold a bonus, right? So emotes, great for communication and a little bit of manipulation, but they're all lies. Everybody's your enemy and this is war. All right, ultimately, red did move down with his stack because blue moved out of the way and green gets his bonus now. Good job, Tim. He's also going to protect it from 3 different positions. Fortunately, is a bonus. You kind of have to hold from like 4 spots, but nobody's really going to break him up there. Nice solid turn for him. He ensured he got a bonus on turn 3. He had a terrible spawn. Ensured he got this bonus on turn 3 without wasting troops. Right? He waited. He let people get out of his way. So put him on a spot. He's on 23 troops. He's not doing like incredibly well troop-wise, but for having a really bad spawn, that was really well played. So Pete is now broken. What does he do? Does he just retake the bonus? UnderTheGun's going to get another 7 troops and just smack it again? No. Not yet. Not when you have 2 cards, right? When the trades start coming in, then your retaliation starts seeming a little bit more threatening. Right now, he couldn't retaliate. So Pete actually does a really smart move here. Just takes a card here and passes. Yeah. And he's also stacking here. This is another interesting thing, right? He doesn't think the Bull's going to come in. Because the Bull's more of a, let's say, reserved or passive player, right? So it's unlikely Bull's going to add troops here and move in here. He also wants to get his bonus. So the more he has stacked here, it's the more he's kind of got pointed at coming into UnderTheGun's bonus. Just a little bit, just to put a little bit more doubt into his mind about doing it again when he is ready to take it. So Bull, ultimately, on his turn, rolls 10 into a 3, into a 1, into a 3, and lost most of his troops, but he does take the bonus and retain it. He does have this 5 to fortify in, so fortunately he does have that. And he does get the he does roll the 3 on 1 over here to kind of give Finley the easy roll. He didn't have to, because ultimately all he really has is this 2 stack, and he still only has the 2 stack, right? So he just did that to be extra nice, and he definitely didn't need to. Make him hit it. Make him eat a little bit of crap there, right? And he brings his 5 into here, giving Tim kind of an opportunity to bully him. We'll talk about that in a moment. So here's John's position. He gets his first bonus on turn 3. He wants to maintain this position. He's got kind of decent positions on the board right now. You've got a 1 here, and you get an opportunity. Add a couple troops, keep this position. Yeah, he wants to keep this one as well. Yeah, it makes them both 4s.
So,
takes a card over here. Passes. Does he bring 1 troop out of his 4 over here? No, he's trusting Finley not to break him. So Finley has now been a good neighbor to him for 2 turns in a row, not breaking his bonuses. Where he could have easily done it, but he's focused on his bonus. UnderTheGun is getting a massive amount of troops, has a big lead on everybody right now, entering into turn 4. At this point, we're approaching the first trades, next couple turns. Yeah, ultimately, he's trying to decide what he can do. UnderTheGun's in an odd position where he's only in 2 spots, right? So he's the strongest in troops, but later rounds of progressive, that will not matter if you're an easy kill.
Yeah.
If you have 20 troops more than everybody, but somebody cashes in for 40 troops, doesn't matter if you had that extra 20 at the start if you were an easy kill. A little unfortunate for him, he's in 2 spots, but that was the trade-off of having all of his troops spawn here. All right, Finley does get this bonus.
That's a big bonus for Finley.
How does he guard it?
Finley got 5.
So in this position, he kind of comes out. He's been a good neighbor to John, right? So he doesn't expect John to break him. So I would have maybe even put 1 troop here just to make that a little bit more difficult. But ultimately, spreading your troops and not trusting people does make it so you don't have a stack as well. But he's finally on turn 4 got this bonus. Where are we going, Tim? Tim's up here. Tim's got an interesting position. So he just gets his first bonus troops. Red has not yet got his bonus troops. Tim's on 26. The Bull is on 18 troops. He could just add a bunch of troops to this 6. He's adding 7, right? He could make this a 10 and just kind of hit here. The 6 would not have access back up. It's trapped through this red one. It can't come through here. He could make this a 5 or a 6, and he could make this a 7 or an 8, and just hit this and kind of guard it with like a 6 and a 7. And red would have no way to retaliate, and he'd lose this bonus. So red would have a couple options of, hey, kind of take a card and just try to survive, and then green can kind of push him out for this fucking second bonus. Really strong position if he could get a second bonus here, right? The other alternative would be red kind of positions and fortifies his 6 back up, makes it an 8 or something, and kind of threatens to attack him with the next trade in. If that's the case, then Tim just brings his stack back, lets him have the bonus, and they can proceed as friends. But That does delay the bonus troops on him 2 turns. But ultimately, Tim is not the player that's going to make that move. But it is an option he did have, because he would have had a 3-point kind of guard on red retaliating.
Yeah, that seems like...
And he does want to protect this position. Very smart also to protect yourself and keep an extra position. Make yourself harder to kill later. Very important. Okay. Also moving that 3 there, and you can see UnderTheGun put a 6 here because he was a little wary of Pete's 4 coming up and hitting him. So Pete waited a turn, takes the bonus, puts the stack there for UnderTheGun to face, right? He knows Tim is a little bit more of a careful player and is less likely to come into him with the trades coming in. And he's kind of got more of the less aggressive players guarding his other corners, so he's not wasting troops over here. The 3 more passive players are the 3 people on his borders, except for UnderTheGun. So he puts all of his troops kind of pointed at UnderTheGun, saying, well, this is obvious. If you're coming and you're going to hit a 6, that's going to be much more costly. Plus, I'm going to get a bigger trade than you. Right? Alright, Red's turn. Red has this bonus, and now he's kind of got a decent thing going on with Green. Green didn't break him. Let him get his bonus. He knows he can kind of trust him for now. But he wants to protect this position. It was only a 2. He wants to protect this position and probably this position. He wants to keep himself in 4 spots so he has good kill lines on other players, and also so he's not vulnerable to death. I think that was a well-played turn. John gets his 6 troops. Okay, this is the 3rd turn. No, 2nd turn. Was that the 3rd turn? No, this is the 2nd turn he gets his bonus, right? He got it on the end of turn 2. He protects his borders from yellow, and immediately yellow left to 1 here, rolls the 4-on-1. Doesn't even care. I was talking to John just recently. He was, he took the day off work, and he was at a friend's house, helping them with some stuff, and he went out in the truck and played this game on his phone in his truck. A 45-minute game or so in the finals. Interesting way to approach this. I would always be doing it on the PC. So UnderTheGun skips a card.
Skipping.
Pete realizes he gets to hold his bonus. Great for him. Also, interesting time to skip a card. If everybody skips a card and the bonuses keep accruing and the troops keep accruing, you can stalemate the game. One of the things UnderTheGun or other very aggressive players would hate to do is to stalemate the game. But he's also probably recognized Finley's bonus is broken. The next player in line with the card skips, he's going to take a card by taking his bonus back, which in turn will probably make everybody else take a card. So this will be a successful card skip. And Finley, being the nice guy he is, he takes his bonus back and then threatens to hit the 3. Actually doesn't even hit the 3. He let him hold his bonus for 2 turns, and then he got broken, and then he still didn't really retaliate. So very calm demeanor right there, right? And probably, if I'm him, I'm putting a decent amount of troops here to kind of threaten. If you do that again, yeah, this means war. He's threatening him like, now I get to keep the bonus. No more messing around with me, right? Yeah, and he wants to put some troops up here kind of threatening his border. Now, for John to break him, it would be very costly, especially with the trades coming in. So he does get the 5th card. Now everybody starts taking their card. I think a few of the more aggressive players might hit the 3 there, knock him out of that position. But also then he might incite something up here. So there's a couple ways to look at that. I do like how he played that. So Green's just fortifying his borders, making sure he's still in multiple positions, taking a card. Standard play. Well played. Pete gets to hold his bonus. Gets 8 troops. Whoa! Look at him go. All right. So he's adding troops to this bottom left corner. He wants to be hard to kill. Good for him. Needs to be hard to kill. That position being trapped, Black doesn't have access to it. Black kind of has a line on him other than that. So very good that he's down there. He's also going to try to extend us up here a little bit. So he's not in 1 or 2 positions. He wants to kind of be in 3. All right, the Bull's getting 7. This is going to be a standard card take. Protect a little bit. Make sure all of his positions are good. More of the same.
I think UnderTheGun's in a bad position because he's in the middle of the map.
John should be about the same for his turn. Take a card, make sure his stuff is good.
I think Tim wins this game. To be honest.
We're about to enter the first trades.
Because John has all...
So there's a couple things about card skipping, right? So A, in a game where there's a lot of fighting, say you're first to act, right? The progressive cards go +4, +6, +8, +10, +12, +15. Right? 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 15. And then second set of trades, if you're the first to trade, you'll get the 20. Sometimes in lower rated games or on certain maps where people are fighting and there's no bonuses, if you go first, a card skip would be incorrect because you're going to get the 4 and you're going to trade it to get that 15 later. But you could get the 4 and then you can get the 20 right after the 15, and that might 20 at that point might be enough to kill everybody and win the game, right? Like that 20 might be enough to kill someone with 4 cards, trade for 25, kill someone, trade for 30. If a lot of people are fighting and certain maps, there's no bonuses, you can win the game in that scenario. I think in this situation, because of the way this was set up, I think that was a very smart skip. Because you could see Finley was going to take the card. So this is going to give him the 15 trade, but then it's also going to be 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45 trade, right? So he's getting now, instead of the 4 trade and the 20, he's getting the 15 and the 45. And he's trying to plan out, I want to win the game on the 45 trade, right? That's what he's looking at right now. He's already planning out round 9, because his trade would be on the start of round 9 when everybody else is on round 8. He's trying to win, how do I win in round 9, round 10? With the 45 trade. Massive troop advantage is what he's looking for, and then just to try to capitalize on any opening. Yeah, so the standard on turn 8 is everybody usually is sitting on 4 cards, and you don't have a trade on 4. If somebody, you'll go to 5 cards. Somebody can cash and kill you, take your cards, trade again, or somebody can trade for 4 and kill one of the people below them that's holding 4 cards, kill them, cash, trade again, and then run the board, right? We are playing 70%. So round 8 is, going into this game, I would definitely be planning to win for round 8, making a set up position, so I'm planning to try to win for round 8. You want to try to build openings for yourself. Another thing about being prepared with stacks to try to kill people and run the board, a lot of defender stacks like 4, 2, 7, 2, 5, 5, 4, like these are all just defender stacks. You can see he's not using any, he's just got a big stack. And he's got a bunch of defender stacks. Before round 8, you kind of want to start fortifying all your troops together in one stack, right? Even if your bonus ends up getting broken because of it, at least all your troops are in the one position to take advantage of any opportunity that you do have.
Big deal from the gun. Successful skip.
Yeah, so he skips.
Cool.
He's going to get his 5th card now. Very well played. So yellow gets his 9. He finally gets to hold his bonus. He's got first trade. He's going to get 13 troops to put down. He's technically in 1, 2, 3 positions. If I'm yellow, I'm adding a bit here. I'm adding a bit here. I'm going to try to protect myself. Probably my card. I would have took this. He's moving his yellow all the way up here. I guess he's trying to make this further away and trying to get his stack up here, which is fair. I might have gone and taken this one with the 5, but this is fair move as well. This also lets Pete kind of come out a bit and have less guards on his bonus. He can come out here and put this big stack here, and then they're both, it's pointed at black, even though black would have access to in here.
From my border. Things are looking a little bit rosier now, aren't they?
Yeah, he's feeling pretty good. The game's a lot better than the start, right? Like 8 stack of green right here could have broke him, but the players are being that friendly. You do not complain about it. Bring this 7 into here and have a 13 stack? Well, 6 of these troops into here and have a 13? Or does he leave the guard temporarily? It is still, this is round 6, right? So okay, he's still guarding his borders. Round 8 generally when you're going to want to make sure you're in the big stacks. Full trades for 10. Protects this side.
UnderTheGun wants to start
Protects
one.
up here. Stacks on his big stack, protecting his
Blues are
opponents.
having 3 cards. Ooh, can I make it?
You can see him and green kind of have a nice thing going on. They haven't been fighting like these two, so they also have this completely unguarded and fully trusting border.
John's also in too many places. Alright, now we got John was setting at the 12.
Okay, so he gets his big trade. He's going to protect his exterior positions as well. Ideally, because this is only pointed at yellow, you do want a big stack over here of some sort with access out. Doesn't have access out right now. UnderTheGun gets that 15 with his 6. He's going to have 21 troops to put down. Puts him at a massive troop lead, but still kind of in 1.5 positions? Kind of 2, because you can't really get to this 8 without going through 15 other troops. So. Like, Pete has a direct line on him, right? So, although Pete is weaker than him by 20 troops, next trade rotation, that is a little bit threatening.
For a brief moment, it will matter.
Yeah. Game's starting to get intense. These players are definitely feeling the pressure right now. This is the World Finals. The winner of this game is the champion. Right? So, Black's realized... UnderTheGun knows I've got lots of troops, but I'm kind of in 2 spots. So he kind of wants to put this 9 up here buried and hope blue comes out and sits here with the stack, kind of guarding it to make it harder to kill. It's kind of the best he can really do in this situation. He can't get a stack down here. He's kind of stuck in his position. He just has to own it at this point, right? Okay. Takes a card, pass. That's one thing I will note. Finley tends to act immediately. Like, his turn starts and boom, just it's over in 2 seconds, right? I'd say any players entering a tournament game, take your time. Don't feel like you're not deserving of wasting other people's 50, 60 seconds of their time for every single move if you need to. Take your time, think through your moves, because you might see something after 20 seconds that you otherwise wouldn't have. Right, like it's not affected him here, but on turn 1, he just moved instantly, right? If he took 45, 50 seconds to thoroughly think about this needs to come out, blue wants to come up, red needs to come over, it would have put him in a much stronger position going into turn 2. So I think a criticism, although like he is a world-class player, I think he should put a little bit more effort into his time management, right? Use your time. Don't be afraid to use your time. Okay, Pete gets the 8. We're about to be on round 8. This is round 7. Everybody's getting their 4th card. Fireworks is coming. Does he bring his stacks together? Yes, he knows. This is round 7. Round 8, the game could end. So he's got his stacks. 1, 2, 3 position stacks, ready to try to run the board if an opening presents itself or a kill line, anything presents itself. Pete very much understands progressive world domination and 70%. Okay, the Bull's position. He should also be looking, right now in the Bull's shoes, I would be looking at, okay, round 8 is coming. I'm about to have 4 cards. John's about to have 4 cards. UnderTheGun's about to have 4 cards. Probably Finley, Tim, and Pete have to trade to be safe, right? So, what are the trades? Finley's going to get 20. Tim's going to get 25. Pete's going to get 30. If they all trade, I get a 35 trade. Even if one of them misses it, I'll get a 30 trade. So plan, if I get 30 troops plus my 6 or 7, if I get 36 or 7 troops, can I kill somebody next turn, one of these guys that misses their card, or John or UnderTheGun, because they'll be on 4 cards. So he needs to look at, what can I do with 37 troops next turn? Does he have line on yellow? Not sort of. No, because if this blue moves up or something, maybe he can have a line on yellow. Does he have a line on green? He kind of does. He's got a pretty good line on green, so he should be looking. If Tim doesn't trade, I should be cashing in and killing him next turn, which would trigger another trade, which would probably give me enough troops to run through and take a bunch of ones and win the game with 70%. In a setting like this, going into this map, you need to know how many territories it takes for you to win the game on 70%. This map, without blizzards, it's 47 territories is 70%. I think it's 46.8 or something, and then you round up to 47. So going into this finals match, you should know that, and you should kind of calculate for round 8 who you can kill and how many ones you can probably get to, right? Because if he does kill green, and then kind of come through here, and then in here, and then he can kind of take this, and then he's kind of got a free run into here, right? And then how many territories is all of this, plus what he's already got, plus what he takes from killing green, plus maybe these couple ones? Like, how many is that? Is that close to 47? He should be looking at that next turn, right? And not just green, right? Because green's going to be on 5 cards if he doesn't trade. Like, can he kill Pete? Not really a line on this 7. He's got a decent line on this and decent line on this. But this 11's not really pointed, or sorry, I'm looking at red. This 12 can't really get over here. This 5 can't really. He doesn't really have a line on Pete. Sorry, green has a line on Pete. But, so the bull could also be looking at, well, John's definitely going to have 4 cards. He's probably not trading on 3. What do I have for him? He's got a straight shot with all of his troops pretty much pointed directly at blue. So going into next turn, the bull is in the prime position because he's one of the later traders, but also with a couple people behind him that'll be on 4 cards. He's one of the later traders. Pete's also kind of in a position where he might be able to capitalize and kill somebody. So he's looking at that right now. 100% he's calculating, can I kill green if he can't trade? Can I kill yellow if he can't trade? Can I kill red or blue next turn? Like, what can I do? He's looking at that right now, right? And the bull needs to be looking at that as well. He can essentially kill blue or green next turn and win the game if green doesn't trade or if something else doesn't happen before that. So going into this turn, he should be maybe taking a card here and putting his stack here, lining up the blue and also lining up green. Yeah, so he takes the card here and essentially it looks like he's planning that. He took the card here, he fortified up, he's got this stack here. Like all of his stuff, his 12 here is at blue and at green. He's got the perfect line on both of them. Round 8, progressive, tournament finals, intense moment. In that situation, you got to pull the trigger. Got to pull the trigger. So John's on 56 troops now. He does not want to die. He's protecting all of his 4 spots. He wishes this was 2 spots, right? But it's all connected. Green's the only one that can't connect through here. Okay. So, black.
Do we see Finley trade on 4?
See, he's asking, do we see Finley trade? Because he's already looking at how can I get in here? Because he's already got this dead. How can I get in here and kill Finley with a trade? And try to win the game from that. Especially if green goes over or something. Or blue comes up. If some opening here makes it easier to get into yellow.
He does.
Trades for 20. Okay, Finley trades for 20. He doesn't have enough troops to kill somebody to trade for 25 to try to win the game. So in his position, he does need to survive. And he's also got guard stacks still and not stacks pointed. Like this should have been brought into the 7. These 2 guard stacks should have been in the 7 or all of it here. Right? All of his troops are kind of spread out defending borders and not set up for kill lines. If he had his troops better set up for kill lines and say he got his bonus 1 or 2 turns earlier at the start and didn't get broken because he got it earlier, he might actually be in a position to win the game this turn. But due to like small inaccuracies in the early game and also him and blue kind of have a hostile relationship over here. So they're all guarding and not pointed out at trying to win the game. More defensive behavior than aggressive behavior, right? Once again, I feel like I'm harping a little bit on his playstyle. I want it to be known he's a world-class fucking talent and he belongs in the finals here. There's just some slight errors and I am trying, in hindsight, to analyze every player's position, right? I have nothing against any of these players. They're all incredible players, incredible people. And I believe all 6 of them have done the Pete podcast show. So you can always look on Pete's channel, go WOYBB, which is the Waiting on Your Best Behavior podcast, And you could search any of these players' names to actually find their podcast and listen to them
I get the 30.
and find out more about them. So, green has now traded. The bull cannot go after green. He's now traded. The bull should be 100% focused on, can I kill blue on my turn? With my 37 troops or 42 troops, depending if Pete trades or not. Right? He can also look at, can I get a line to Pete? But he has no line on Pete. Pete's looking, right now Pete's trying to find out, can I kill red or blue? If Pete kills red or blue right here, he can probably win the game. We're going to analyze his position and see if he could indeed do that and go for a win right now or not. Trying to do the math. Or trying to do the math. He's doing the math. Pete's a smart guy. All right. He takes a card and he fortifies. Pete gets 8. You can see he's not speedy here. He's not looking at trying to make a kill. He knows he doesn't really have one. So this is a 7 stack. It's showing the 38. But if we want to calculate, he needs to get a kill on red or blue. Can he kill either of them? Well, this 7 would need to add maybe 9 troops to hit this 11. This 13, you add 2 or 3. Let's say your 12 of his 38 go into these. He'd have to add 5 here. That's 17 out of his 38 to go here and hit this 16. So it leaves him with what, 21 troops? 21, 22 troops to add to this 8. Which makes this what, it's 29. We'll say for argument's sake, this is a 30. And he greeted a little bit on his positioning. So this is a 30. He has to kill these 10 troops. Right? To go through, what's this? 15, 25. So he's got to kill 25 and 10. He'd have to kill 35 troops to kill blue this turn. He doesn't have the line on red. Blue would be his only play. And he'd need 30 troops to kill 35. Very unlikely to get a successful rate. And plus, a couple of these rolls wouldn't quite be 100%. So, ultimately, too risky. And he knows that. So, he's just going to position himself. Make some stacks around the board. Hope for more opportunities going forward. One thing to note, he did take a card here. Ultimately, I don't know... Probably in his position, I would have taken... Well, I definitely would have taken a different card. I'm trying to think which card I would have taken. Because obviously you want to keep your stacks open. I probably would have taken this 1. I know it takes him right into blue. But also he'd still be able to get through with these ones. And he'd still be able to get out with it. Kind of coming up here kind of opens UnderTheGun into the back here. UnderTheGun's going to get the 45 trade. And 47 territories, when you get this free 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is a free 8 territories for him with this 19. Plus, UnderTheGun has a lot of troops, plus the 45. He might not even need the kill, right? He might be able to just run the board and get the 47. Without doing a calculation on whether he can or not, that is definitely something to concern yourself with. So opening this 19 up, he probably didn't consider that. He's focused. Pete's an aggressive player, right? So he's probably really focused on how can I set up to kill somebody that's going to screw themselves? So the bull getting 7 troops. Rating 35 has 42 troops. Right now, here is the first opportunity to win the game that was missed. Bull has 42 troops to place. He needs to kill 54 troops. He would kill John and trigger a 40 trade. So he only needs to put 4 troops here. I think 16 on 11 is 100%. 4 troops here. He puts like, I don't know, 10 here to kind of run through. Here. And then, what's that? 15. Then what's he got left? 27. He puts 27 here and has 35. 35 to kind of come through here and kill, what's this? 22. He'll come through here and probably have like a 15 stack or a 20 stack left. And this will die. And he'll have this. Trigger a plus 40 trade. Then he kind of runs up, takes these 3 territories. He's down here. He takes these territories into here and into all here. Kind of comes up, takes all these 1s. He's going to have a 20 stack here, so he's also going to be able to come down here. Maybe he goes over this way. Right, like he's kind of got a really good line. And I have counted. there is definitely 47 territories available and more than enough troops to do it. It would be a matter of doing it, getting the kill successfully, and then pathing correctly during that 60 seconds. And he should be using his time on everybody else's turn to kind of line his kill and his pathing up to ensure that victory. I'd say 95 to 100% chance of victory if he paths correctly and just shoots his shot right here. Unfortunately, he does not see that, or he's a little bit too nervous. Obviously, this is very intense finals situation, right? So you can't harp too hard on anybody for feeling the stress, feeling the nerves. A lot of people, it's kind of human nature, a loss aversion, or what's the term, I guess. You think too much about what could go wrong and not what could go right, right? Like maybe he's thinking, if I shoot my shot and I miss, then I just give the game away and somebody else wins for free. And like, what if I screw the finals up by making a stupid mistake? All these people are going to watch the video. What if I look like an idiot? Like all these things might go through your head, right? But ultimately, Bull is an incredibly talented player. Top tier player, 100%. And if you play with him in a free-for-all game where the stakes are not high, and he's in this position, I think he just wins almost every single time because he knows how to do it. He's experienced, right? I think the nerves got a little bit to him here. And that's, you can see the way the game ends, nerves got to everybody in this game. So you can't harp on anyone for that, right? But this is the first missed opportunity for a win. Yeah, Pete's saying the first person that doesn't trade dies, but the game would have been over here. Under the gun in Bull's position, or me in Bull's position, or Pete, like a lot of people would have capitalized on that and just shot their shot. It's so beautiful. This game would have ended in fireworks. It still does end in fireworks. Actually, even more so. So, hey, we got the result that we were looking for.
I'm just trying to calm down.
Pete is trying to stay calm. You can see he does have some meditation techniques he utilizes in games like this to try to keep his nerves calm. Very emotional man, this guy.
Then I'm gonna fucking flinch.
All right, so John gets to trade. John trades, gets the 45 troops. The only person that has enough cards for John to win the game right now is UnderTheGun. If he could kill UnderTheGun right now, take his 4 cards, trigger a trade for 45, run the board and win, he could do it. So let's briefly look at his position.
Bull gets to 35.
Bull's turn's actually incredibly quick, huh?
Next guy to not.
Yeah.
Funny how luck matters more when everyone's so good.
All right. Maybe it wasn't as quick as I thought. Attack, takes a card, fortifies up. Okay, 6 troops. Plus 40? 40. So he's got 46 troops. We're going to pause. 46 troops to put down. UnderTheGun has 66. Here's a position where if John was positioned differently, he could win the game. Essentially, he doesn't have access to UnderTheGun over here. And he doesn't have access to UnderTheGun over here. He doesn't have access through here. He's got a lot of troops. He does have a stack here position. He's got 46 troops. He's got to kill 66. If this 9 and 5 were on this 8 pointed out and he had a trusting alliance here, or even most of it, like if last turn he brought the 9 over, even if he lost the bonus, he'd have more troops here. Right? He's got to kill 26 troops here. Probably he needs to put at least 20 here. Probably 22 to be safe. And he's got, what, 24 left? 24 here, which means this is a 35, 34, 33. And then he's got to kill, what's this, 25, 40. He'd have 33 to kill this 40. And about 30 to kill this 27, right? So he doesn't have the line approximately. But if these were full on set up for the the round 8 win, he might have had the shot and the line to kill him there. That being said, if he did, he doesn't really, these walls are kind of stopping him from getting the free territories over here. He could get some of this and some of this, but I don't know if he could have got the 70, right? So ultimately, he doesn't have the win here. So he takes his troops, kind of protects his positions, takes his stacks. One of the things I would look at in this scenario, for a lot of these guys, right? they're cashing, and sure, I can't win the game this turn. But one of the things they should have been looking at, let's say Tim or Pete even, I can't win the game this turn, but who might win the game on this turn? And if they can I block them? Right? Like, you couldn't really block red from here or here to hit blue, but like somebody like green maybe could have foresaw that red had a good line on blue and maybe fortified this 20 to here, which would have stopped his line. He would have kind of had to split. It would have made it a little bit more tricky to hit both of these stacks, and red's sure win would not have been so sure. Little things like that, right? Also, him going here to kind of block this off, maybe Pete would have seen that and moved to 24 over. There's little things that you can watch that can kind of protect people from dying and losing the game, because 70% is so crazy. You kind of have to look at how fast it can end from anybody's perspective.
Fucking flinch.
So yeah, John's gonna add troops to all his positions. Take a card.
You gotta chill.
UnderTheGun's hoping John leaves a stack here, or he has been hoping that, just to kind of keep him a little bit better protected. But ultimately, he doesn't die. On 66 troops. Takes the card down here. In doing this card here, very smart. He still maintains his pathway out. Angle at red, angle at green, and angle at black, and angle at white. He still has access to everybody from this position. So that's a very smart card take. And he brought his 5 over here, right? So he's starting to bring his stacks together. If he did that a couple turns earlier, he might have had a shot at something. So UnderTheGun has a dilemma here. He does have a trade for 45 troops. But what he wants to do is, if he trades and kills somebody, right? Like, he has the line, he wants to kill Tim. We know what happens in this game. If you were still haven't seen this game and you're at this point in the video, please pause and go watch the damn video. It's in the description. I don't want to spoil. The end is fire. Okay, that being said, we know UnderTheGun wants to kill Tim. He wants to trade for 45 and take his cards, but he would trade down to 1 and only get 2 cards. Not good. If he's on 5 cards and Tim's on 3, then he trades next turn and takes Tim out and gets a second trade and can win the game, right? So his dilemma is, I don't want to trade this turn. I want to trade next turn to win the game. But the other dilemma is Pete has 89 troops and Pete's entire army is just aimed at him. So if John had taken a card here, which would have blocked Pete from getting this 9, UnderTheGun might have sat and not traded this turn and waited till next turn. But because Pete essentially has a kill line on him, I'm assuming he sees this, so he cashes now. It's kind of a dilemma, which telegraphs how he's going to win the game next turn. Right?
UnderTheGun gets the last of the second.
And you can see how he positions his troops, right? He's got the line because Pete came up here. He doesn't just have the line in here. He's got the line to Tim's stack down here. He's got a perfect line on him, and nobody's really watching that.
Chain a kill into
like his next turn, a lot of people didn't see it coming, and myself included when I was watching it. There's so much going on and trying to watch the game from everybody's perspective. The time is short, right? It's very hard for a player to understand everything that everybody's got going on when the turns are so quick. Right? He's got the 40. He's calculating. This is 32 troops. I got to get through these two. So 34 troops I got to kill. This is like a 24. So I want to have a 30. This is 21, 2, 3, 4. So I want to be a bit more than that. You can see he is fully telegraphing his turn. Right? I like... You can definitely see that if you're watching this and paying attention to him trying to win the game. Very easy in hindsight to see this. Very telegraphed, but not recognized during the game by any player. So if you're yellow and you saw that, is there anything you can do to try to protect green? Can you block a pathway from him getting green? You can't. He took a card here, so nobody could even come in here and block him. I don't know if that connects. If it does... Then if I'm Pete, maybe I bring that 24 up to block. Right? Pete's got the other option of bringing this 25 and fortifying it down here. Try to make it so he can't come through and get him, and it still has access out. Because he could bring it back 1, but then it's kind of trapping itself. Well, apart from pointing it under the gun, but only under the gun. But ultimately, neither of these moves to block happens, and Tim doesn't actually recognize that he's going to die. Under the gun's on 2 cards. He just needs him to get a 3rd card to kill him and take the trade, right? It's essentially the same move as waiting to trade next turn and then killing him by just trading, setting up to kill, and just not firing, letting him get 1 more card, right? A lot of the times you can use that in Global Domination. It's much rare to see it in a game at these stakes, right? Because in this position, Tim should definitely skip a card. Don't take a card, and then Under the Gun can't fire off next turn. You've essentially secured yourself not ending the game, right? And then you can still, obviously, if you don't have a card and you can't trade soon, that puts you in a bad spot and it's hard to win. But definitely you can still be in a position to capitalize on other people's mistakes. Ultimately, he's thinking. He adds his troops here. Under the Gun's kind of positioned, so no matter where Tim adds his troops, Under the Gun can add his troops next turn and just... He has the perfect stack sizes already set. Very, very smart play. Yeah, he can pretty much add everything to this 31 and then he's good. So here's Pete. Pete's looking at how can I win the game. He's probably thinking about his next trade. And kill lines on somebody else, right? Generally, that's how progressive games go. Also, being a more attacker-heavy player, he's probably not as watchful of Under the Gun's kill lines and what he's setting up to do. So, Bull's position. He's got a trade on 3. Bull doesn't have a way to block a kill. No real way to stop what's coming. Even if Bull sees it, he can't really stop what's coming without slamming into a Under the Gun stack, right? What does John have for options? He doesn't have an option either, right? No. There's absolutely nothing anybody can do right now to protect green. I believe Pete really only had Pete only had the opening, but very hard to see that coming. When you're so focused on trying to win, it's so hard sometimes to pay attention to what other people are doing to try to win. So when they do fire off, you're like, oh, I didn't even see that coming, right? So Under the Gun, ultimately, 6 troops, probably puts most or all here. Actually, that's 100%, I believe. Yeah, he puts extra here just in case he gets bad 1 rolls. Okay. He's trying to stay calm. All right, let's see the nerves. Boom.
Under the Gun's going for the 70. No, he's going for the kill on Tim. Cool. Gonna kill Tim and set and get the 70.
Decent roll up here.
Wins the game.
Great kill.
31%.
50 troops to put down. So 50 troops to put down. He should have on his turn been mapping out which territories to take, where to split, how he's gonna get 70% and 47 territories, right? Guaranteed he was thinking about it that entire time, and he was kind of mapping out what amount of troops he's going to put in what area and where he's going to get his cards from. Or, sorry, get his territories from. Right, like maybe a 10 here. He's already mapped out his 70%.
Fuck yeah, man. Get it Under the Gun.
Man's pissed off, but he's a good sport. Beautiful, beautiful setup to win the game here by Under the Gun. Really, really well played. Yeah, puts enough here to take the 2 extra territories. Got enough here to kind of run through. He didn't really need that many because there's like a 20 here he wasn't getting through anyways. So a little bit wasted 15 troops here, right?
51, 53,
yep.
54. I think
got enough here.
It. I think we have a chance.
This is the problem. He comes here and he goes here, and in his head, he's splitting here, but he needed to split here and come up.
Champion, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep, see, now he's splitting. He doesn't realize he fucked up.
God.
That's the thing. The heart sensor's beating. Your turn's almost over. Your heart's beating. You're in the most intense game of your Risk career. And, boom, boom, boom. And he's like, he's 1 territory off.
Man off.
Boom. Finley Pope gets 3 troops. The whole board is clear. Finley Pope takes 1 card and instantly passes. We're going to rewind just briefly. Finley the Pope gets 3 troops.
Holy fucking shit!
And this man is saying bad words on YouTube, but we're not going to talk about that. So you need 47 territories to win. Somebody just screwed up taking the 70%. Immediate thing you need to do is, can I win? I'm not going to get another turn, right? Odds are one of these 4 people has a trade on 3 and they're going to win. And even if they don't, the board is so clear with all these big stacks, it's very likely somebody just wins the game anyways without even a trade, right? So you take the, like, he immediately, 3 troops on here, takes a card, passes. Doesn't even take a moment. What I would suggest is take a moment, take a breath, calculate. You need 47 territories. You have 4. You have 63 troops. You need to take 43 territories with 63 troops, right? So let's see. You put 3 here, 8 on 2. Maybe you can get up to here. Maybe you can take these 5 territories with a decent rolled 8. The 11 can kind of come up to here and also split over here, right? And then maybe with perfect dice, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Maybe you get like these 17 and these 8. And what's he got over here? He's got this perfect 24 stack. Kind of comes in, maybe splits, kind of comes up and around here. It's very close. So I have counted this. I give the odds at about 40%, 40 to 50% maybe that he can get it. He would need decent dice. Rolling a 20 on a bunch of 1s. He'd probably have to win a 3-on-1 over here or a couple 3-on-1s, maybe a 2-on-1. Like there's some... You would need decent dice. You'd need to not get screwed taking all the territories. So I'd say it'd be a little under 50% for him to win right here, right? But if you don't shoot your shot, you just lose, right? Because he's got 63 troops. Somebody with 88 and not a trade probably has enough. That being said, he does instantly take a card and pass his turn. Pete, 91 troops, trade on 3. You can see he's got the shaky hand going on. Probably he just wins even without the trade. If you're calm in this situation, I don't know what to recommend to be calm in this situation. I haven't dealt with like nerves like making me too nervous or shaky hands or that. Generally, when the heartbeat's going and it's intense and your heart rate's like 175, I'm pretty good at just focusing. I don't know what advice I would give to people that do struggle with that. I know he meditates. There is some things you can do for that. There are a lot of, like, let's say esport players that reach the stage and there's millions of people watching and there's tens of thousands in the stands cheering. That is an intense feeling and people get nervous. And I know a lot of esports players that have started their professional career with high nerves and they've learned to adapt. I don't know what they've done, but you are nervous in these kind of situations. It is definitely worth looking at how to keep yourself calm and cool because it makes the difference between winning and losing. I think if Bull was calm and cool a little bit earlier, he would have shot his shot on blue and he would have won the game. Bull's definitely capable of doing that any day of the week. UnderTheGun was just a little bit more calm and cool. He would have split here instead of here and he would have got his extra territory. If he left a 5 here, it was a free couple territories. Easy win, right? But heart rate 175, heart rate sensor going off in the game. Intense ass game. It's really hard to keep your cool. Yeah, and now we see got the trade. Can he do it?
I'm too excited. I lose because of nerves.
Fortunately, he does have the 60 seconds and enough troops that his pathing isn't too important. So settle himself down enough that his hand is clicking.
Fuck this, Pete. You're a champion. Win. Just win it.
So many little territories, it's hard. Got 48%, 50%. Absolutely monumental moment for the Risk community right here. Like, not just for Pete, obviously for Pete, but for the Risk community as a whole. For Pete to have this moment. Also, that scream was way louder on stream. Somebody brought that down for the YouTube video.
Oh my god.
Absolutely beautiful game. Ultimately, all right, I'm gonna stop that there. But ultimately, 4 players ended up having a shot at winning. Finley's shot was a lot lower chance of succeeding than the other 3 players. Unfortunate for Tim and KingJohn, they didn't really have an opening to try to win the game. Positionally, maybe if John's troops weren't guarding his borders, he might have been able to get an opening. But just the way the turn order was, it was very difficult for him to have an opportunity. And Tim was a little too early, being the second to trade on the big trade. He didn't have enough troops or kill lines on anybody. So ultimately, these 2 players didn't have a chance to really win this game. I didn't really look to see what they could have done differently to really put themselves in a better position. The way UnderTheGun played, it kind of dictated how that game went. I think he played incredibly well. UnderTheGun did earn a 2nd place for getting the kill. So he got 2nd place in this tournament. KingJohn had an absolutely dominating tournament performance, and he had the most points, which gave him the 3rd place in the tiebreaker. So what I'd say here is that is my analysis of this game. For these players, I think all of them are exceptional players, and they're all going to be looking to get back there as soon as possible. Pete might already be back in the finals by the time this video releases. We will find out. Yeah, the finals for this season are going to be coming up this following week after this video releases. I'm excited to see those finals, see if Pete makes it, see if JJ makes it. There's a number of great players in the semifinals right now, and I don't even know what the final settings are yet, so I'm excited to see what those are. I'm excited to see who plays in them. Maybe I'll be able to do another analysis video of those finals once they're concluded. Yeah, if you've been having a good time, if you want to see more about this, Pete has a post-game analysis of this game with Parlox. Same video, just a little bit further on. He gets into a voice chat with Parlox. They chat about the game. Great after game analysis. Ultimately, a really well played and very interesting finals game. Great settings. I think that was well done. The staff did a great job in this tournament. Players had a great time. Just all around great tournament. And yeah, I guess that about does it for my review. If you enjoyed this, please consider leaving a comment, maybe liking the video. Consider subscribing to the channel. I have a lot of videos coming out. I have a Sunday series that's a lot of fun. I have some tutorial series. I also stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/kilted. And yeah, have a great weekend, everybody. Have a great week. Good luck to everybody competing in this season's finals. Really looking forward to watching that. Take care, everybody.